If you want to understand India's grand strategy for the future, you don't need some massive, complicated report. Nope, you just need to look at what happened on one single day. We're going to dive into January 3rd, 2026, and pull out 4 powerful signals that show us exactly where the country is headed.
So how can just one day tell you so much? Well, on January 3rd, there were 4 totally separate announcements, and each one is like a piece of a giant puzzle. When you put them all together, they give us this incredibly clear picture of India's game plan for trade, manufacturing, sustainability, and, crucially, how it gets things done.
All right, first up, signal number 1. On the world stage, India is charting a very specific course when it comes to international trade, and it's all about being really smart and deliberate in how it engages with the rest of the world.
Okay, to really get what India is doing, we've got to talk about something called RCEP. Now, this is a huge deal. It's the biggest free trade bloc on the planet, covering about a third of the entire global economy. But here's the twist. Back in 2019, India made this massive decision not to join.
So why stay out of the biggest club in the world? Well, it all came down to a really sharp, strategic calculation. The number one concern was that joining RCEP would basically open the floodgates to a wave of Chinese imports, and that could have been a real problem for India's own industries.
So instead of just walking away, India came up with this fascinating alternative. You could almost call it an RCEP minus China strategy. The game plan is to go and negotiate separate free trade agreements, or FTAs, with 14 of the 15 RCEP countries, one by one. It's like building its own network of partners, but on its own terms.
You see, this whole approach is all about maintaining what's called strategic autonomy and building up its economic resilience. It fits perfectly with the big national mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat, that huge push for a self-reliant India. And it's not just talk. We saw this happen with the India-New Zealand trade deal that got wrapped up in late 2025.
Okay, let's move on to our second signal. For this one, we're shifting gears from the global stage and looking inside the country. Because on that very same day, there was a huge announcement about a massive, and I mean massive, push to supercharge domestic manufacturing in one of the most important sectors out there, electronics.
And when I say massive, I am not kidding. The government gave the green light to projects worth almost 42,000 crore rupees. That's over $5 billion US. The goal here is incredibly ambitious, to turn India into a global hub for making electronic components, not just, assembling phones that were built somewhere else.
So how are they going to do it? Well, the engine behind this whole push is a government policy called the Electronics Component Manufacturing Scheme, or ECMS. Just think of it as a special program designed to give a major boost, a real incentive for companies to set up shop and start manufacturing electronic parts right here in India.
Now here's the really clever part about this whole thing. It's not just free money. Nope, it's a production-linked incentive. That means companies get rewarded for actual results, for making more stuff than they did last year, and, this is key, for hiring more people. It's all about performance. You deliver, you get the benefit.
Signal number 3. We're going to shift from high-tech factories to the environment. But this is really cool because it's not just about cleaning up. It's about completely reframing one of India's biggest urban challenges, waste, and turning it into a massive economic opportunity.
And this idea, it's perfectly in sync with what's happening on the global stage. Just last year at the big COP30 climate conference in Brazil, the whole world basically agreed. Dealing with waste isn't just a local headache, it is a critical, central part of fighting climate change.
So what India is doing is leaning hard into this concept of a circular economy. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's about getting us to stop thinking of things as waste. Instead, we see them as valuable resources that you can put right back into the economy, creating value and getting rid of pollution.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, think about it. The organic waste from our kitchens, instead of ending up in a landfill, it becomes compost for farms or even biogas for energy. Non-recyclable dry stuff gets turned into fuel for cement plants. Old bricks and concrete from demolished buildings, they get recycled. This isn't just about cleaner cities. It's about creating entirely new industries and cutting down on those nasty methane emissions.
Okay, so we've got these huge plans for global trade, for manufacturing, for the environment. But let's be real, a plan is just a piece of paper if you can't make it happen, right? So that brings us to our 4th and final signal, and this one is all about one thing: execution.
I want you to meet Pragati. The name itself stands for Proactive Governance and Timely Implementation,
And that's exactly what it does. It's basically a high-tech command center, chaired by the Prime Minister himself, and it's designed to do one thing: monitor the country's biggest, most important projects, smash through bureaucratic roadblocks, and make sure things get done on time.
And yep, on January 3rd, the 50th Pragati meeting happened, and the agenda was just huge. They reviewed 5 massive infrastructure projects. We're talking roads, railways, power, worth a combined 40,000 crore rupees. That's another $5 billion, spanning 5 different states. This is where the rubber meets the road.
And the guiding philosophy behind all this focus on execution, it really boils down to a simple but incredibly powerful mantra: reform the way things are done, perform on the ground, and ultimately transform the country.
So, let's pull it all together. What we've seen from this one single day aren't just 4 random announcements. They are 4 parts of a very clear, very cohesive national strategy. Number 1, maintain strategic autonomy in the world. Number 2, build up our own domestic capacity in critical areas. 3, use sustainability as an engine for economic growth. And 4, make sure you have a system that actually delivers on its promises.
It's a really clear, really ambitious vision for 2026 and beyond. The blueprint is right there on the table. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. With the plans laid out so clearly, what do you think is the single biggest hurdle to turning this entire blueprint into a reality on the ground?